Imagine a majestic thoroughbred, revered by the world's wealthiest breeders, suddenly found in agony, his legs shattered. This is the story of Alydar, a horse whose life and death would unravel a tale of greed, scandal, and mystery. Alydar was no ordinary horse. His oak-paneled stall was meticulously maintained, and his chestnut coat gleamed from constant brushing. He was a proud and demanding stallion, known for his thrilling duels with affirmed in the 1978 Triple Crown. To breeders, Alydar was a genetic marvel. His offspring often became champions, making his stud fees worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Each spring, breeders flocked to Calumet Farm, eager to have Alydar mount their finest mares. Day after day, Alydar would strut into the breeding shed, rise on his hind legs, and within seconds, his encounter would be over. He was then washed and led back to his stall, his name shining on a brass doorplate. But on a chilly November night in 1990, Alydar was found in shock, his right hind leg hanging by tendons, a shaft of white bone jutting through his skin. The farm's head, J.T. Lundy, claimed Alydar had kicked his stall door. Emergency surgery was performed, but within 24 hours, Alydar broke his femur again, hearing the whinnying of mares. The sound was like a gunshot. Alydar was put down and buried with other champions at Calumet. 8 months later, Calumet Farm declared bankruptcy with over $127 million in debts. The farm's financial collapse was linked to the loss of Alydar's stud fees, leading to a public auction of its horses and equipment. Kentucky horse people were stunned. Some whispered about the strange circumstances of Alydar's death. A foreman couldn't recall Alydar ever kicking hard enough to cause such damage. Yet, no official investigation was conducted. The story seemed to end there until 1996, when a young assistant U.S. attorney in Houston, Julia Hyman, stumbled upon bank records mentioning Calumet Farm and Alydar. She knew nothing about horse racing but was intrigued. By the summer of 1997, Julia, now Julia Tamala, was in Kentucky, accompanied by rookie FBI agent Rob Foster. They began asking questions about Alydar's life and death, stirring curiosity among the bluegrass aristocracy. What could these outsiders hope to learn about Alydar that wasn't already known? And why, after all this time, did it matter? The answers would come almost 10 years after Alydar's death, in a federal courtroom in Houston. In October 2000, Tamala revealed that Alydar's death was no accident. She proclaimed that Alydar had been murdered, setting off a blockbuster story of greed, fraud, and unimaginable cruelty. The tale began at Calumet Farm, a picture postcard of lavish pastureland and pristine white fences. Founded in 1924, Calumet was a racing dynasty, producing champions like Whirlaway, Citation, and Tim Tam. After the death of its matriarch, Lucille Markey, in 1982, Calumet's heirs granted J.T. Lundy full management powers. Lundy, a rambunctious outsider, had long dreamed of running Calumet. Lundy embarked on a multi-million-dollar restoration of Calumet, installing iron gates, repainting fences, and building a state-of-the-art veterinary clinic. He raised Alydar's stud fee to $250,000 and sold lifetime breeding rights. The bluegrass world was awash in money, and Alydar's offspring fetched millions at auctions. Lundy was hailed as a hero, but his ambitions were far from over. He wanted to create a thoroughbred empire. Lundy's spending spree continued, taking out massive loans and buying new stallions. He even leased a private jet for personal trips. But by 1986, the horse racing industry was in a slump, and Lundy's debts piled up. In 1988, Lundy secured a $50 million loan from First City Bank Corporation in Houston, thanks to the bank's vice chairman, Frank C. Siak. Siak, a powerful and aggressive banker, had his own reasons for approving the loan. Siak had received a personal $1.1 million loan from a Kentucky entity linked to Lundy. In return, Siak pushed through the Calumet loan and protected Lundy when the farm struggled to make payments. By 1990, Calumet was veering toward bankruptcy. Alydar, known as Lundy's ATM, was overworked, serving 100 mares a year. The farm's financial woes deepened when Siak resigned from First City. First City demanded a $15 million payment from Calumet by February 1991, or it would foreclose. Less than 3 weeks later, Alydar was dead. The insurance payout temporarily staved off foreclosure. Tamala's investigation revealed that Lundy had been desperate. Calumet was losing nearly $1 million a month, and Alydar's insurance policies were at risk of cancellation. The timing of Alydar's death was suspicious. Tamala and Foster faced resistance in Kentucky. Few wanted to talk, and those who did insisted Alydar's death was accidental. But discrepancies in witness accounts and missing evidence raised doubts. The night watchman, Alton Stone, claimed Alydar had kicked his stall. But another security guard, Pete Hiley, revealed he had found Alydar and called for help. Stone's story began to unravel. The original night watchman, Cowboy Kip, had been told to take the night off by a mysterious man. Kip had rarely missed a night of work, and his absence on November 13, 1990, was highly unusual. Tamala convened a federal grand jury, and Stone was indicted for perjury. Despite the pressure, Stone didn't cooperate. Lundy, meanwhile, remained elusive, taking the Fifth Amendment during depositions. In 1999, Tamala indicted Lundy and Gary Matthews on charges of bank fraud, conspiracy, and bribery. The trial revealed Lundy's financial misdeeds, but the question of Alydar's death remained. During sentencing, Tamala presented new evidence. An MIT professor analyzed the bolts from Alydar's stall and concluded they had been tampered with. Alydar's injury couldn't have been caused by a kick. The professor speculated that Alydar's leg had been pulled by a rope tied to a truck. The evidence suggested a deliberate act, not an accident. Tamala argued that Lundy had the motive and opportunity to kill Alydar. Despite the compelling evidence, the judge couldn't conclusively link Lundy to Alydar's death. Lundy was sentenced to 4 years in prison for bribery, while Matthews received 21 months. Tamala and Foster felt some satisfaction in bringing the truth to light, even if they couldn't secure a conviction for Alydar's murder. The case highlighted the dark side of the horse racing industry. As Lundy left the courthouse, he denied any involvement in Alydar's death. The mystery of Alydar's demise remains, but the story of greed, scandal, and a beautiful horse will never be forgotten. Alydar. The legend lives on.